Hari Om. I'm Poorva Kulkarni, and I have been part of Bapu's family since 1998. Ever since I became part of the Bapu family, I changed. We all do. We feel this positive change in attitude, in outlook, in relationships, in life. Life is basically secure, basically happy. And there's this positive hand that tides us through all ups and downs in life. We feel the gratitude, we feel grateful, and we want to share. We want to share with friends and colleagues and say that the path is open. We want to share and say that we owe it to this one being, to this caring, affectionate father, to this ideal guide, to this closest, dearest friend, to this one being who is all of this at any given moment. My Sadguru, my Bapu, Aniruddha Bapu. My Bapu, as I think of him, the more I think of him, the more highlighted the fact becomes in my mind that I am talking about an immensity that stands before me in human form. And so in the course of this Gunasankirtan, the picture that I paint or the sketch that I draw maybe will be inadequate. My lines, my colors will be imperfect. But my Bapu's love is perfect. He will accept. Ambadnya Bapu. So we were talking of change that happens when we come to the Sadguru, when we come to Bapu. Let's visualize a room that has a window, but a closed window. And there's light outside the window. All we have to do is open the window to let the light in. All we have to do is open the window, but the act of opening the window has to happen. When the window is open, the light enters the room and we see the same space in the light. We see what needs to be rearranged. We see what needs to be cleared out. We see what needs to come in. And here we are talking about sunlight, physical light. Imagine that the room is your inside, your mind, our mind. And the light is the light of the Sadguru, his love, his grace, his word. What happens when the light of the Sadguru enters the mind? It not only shows you what needs to change, it mends the situation. It does it for you. I have an experience of Mr. Satyendra Rana to share with you, and I'm sure that will throw light on what I'm trying to say. So Mr. Satyendra Rana lives in a little village near Roorkee. He had tremendous problems in life, emotional, home front. He had tremendous problems. He even contemplated suicide. He turned to friends and neighbors, nobody helped. He went to an astrologer, things were getting from bad to worse. He even tried a tantric, nothing helped. He was toying with the idea of suicide. Until one day, he sat on the banks of the river Ganga that flows through the village and he called out to God. He said, God, please come. From the heart he called out, please come. And he kept doing that and help came. An acquaintance approached him and asked him, what's the matter? Satyendra Singh poured out the story. And this acquaintance was a Bapu Bhakta. He gave him a little photograph of Bapu and said, this is my Bapu. Lean on him. Pour your heart to him. Cry to him if you want to. Just say whatever you want to him. Share your worries. This is the annik that we do. Write the Ram Nam book. He gave him a little packet of Udi. Satyendra Singh did exactly that. The window opened and the light came in. Slowly, the mind that had become feeble to the extent of contemplating suicide slowly began gathering strength. Things started looking up. The situation improved. The entire family began to do the upasana. His sister got married, but the bad patch was not over. On the third day of the wedding, the sister lost her husband. He just died. But the sister held on. She kept applying the Udi. She kept doing the Ram Nam book. She kept reading the Sai Charitra. Her trust in Bapu, that no, my Bapu is going to pull me through. I am going to come out of this. Everything is going to be fine. That trust in Bapu, that Bapu loves me, kept the window open. And the light came in, and there was this family that approached them and said, we'd like your sister to marry our son. Can she be part of our family? And today the girl is happily married. The help had come in Roorkee. Satyendra Singh wanted to come down to Mumbai and get darshan, wanted to see Bapu. So he came to Mumbai to the discourse. The first one was in Marathi. He didn't follow a word. But he kept sitting before Bapu, listening to Bapu's voice, and that was his time for introspection. He kept thinking, I shouldn't have done this, I should have done this. Why didn't I do this? Why did I do that? And he kept brooding and kept flogging himself mentally. He got darshan, and then someone said, there's another discourse in Hindi, why don't you stay on? He said, yes, this I will definitely understand. He stayed on. And second discourse, Bapu spoke about the mind filled with remorse, the mind filled with guilt. Satyendra Singh had got his answers. The light had come in, the light had shown him what needs to be cleared out. He came home very happy, very reassured. So that is the change that we are talking about. That is the change that happens when you come to the Sadguru. That is the change that stays. That is the change that the Manas Samarthyadata brings about. Why the mind? Because the mind is what houses fear, the mind houses guilt, the mind houses remorse. And for us to get rid of misery, the mind needs to be given the strength. And that is what Bapu does. That is what the Manas Samarthyadata does. So, on the one hand, Bapu, Sadguru, keeps connecting with us wherever we are on earth, keeps sending his grace, his light, his love. And then there's this other way that he keeps connecting with us. It's a unique way. It is what he calls it, the one among you factor. He says, call me what you will. I am your friend. A friend who never betrays. A friend who doesn't even have to be physically present to send help. But I am one among you. What does one among you mean? He lives these words. He lives and conducts himself in a way that I, as an ordinary human being, can relate to. He speaks a language. By language, I don't mean English, Marathi. I mean the word that he speaks. He speaks in a way that I understand. He speaks in a way that I can model myself to. He is what a human being ideally ought to be. Ideally ought to be. We have, or there exist, preconceived notions about the Sadguru. He wears saffron, he holds the rosary. Bapu doesn't want it. Neither does he need it, nor does he want it. Because he wants to be one among us. He shows us the way, but he walks the path to show us the way. And so when he preaches what he practices, actually when he preaches, he would have already practiced it. So when he was a student, he was an ideal student, what a student ought to be. Lots of hard work, lots of studies, lots of music, entertainment, lots of sport. Obviously with a blossoming career, all of that took a back seat. Now he is a family person. Look at him. He wears a shirt and trousers and glasses, as Poorva said. He's a family person. He's what a family person ought to be. He spends time with his family. He goes out to eat. He goes for movies. I have been part of a group that saw Harry Potter with Bapu. I have been part of a group that saw Marathi play with Bapu, and we enjoyed it as much as he did, or rather he enjoyed it as much as we did, and the way we did. So he says that worldly life and spirituality are not opposites. They don't exclude each other. In fact, Worldly life is the primary class and spirituality is the advanced class in the school of life. It is in the family, in worldly life, that you learn to give more than you take. It is in the family that you experience the unconditional love of a mother. It's in the family that you learn to place the other person before you. So that is the primary class. If you have a good worldly life, it enhances your spiritual progress. And what, according to Bapu, is spirituality? Very simple. Every thought, word or deed is open to God. Being aware of this fact is spirituality. So God becomes a part of every moment of your life. How can worldly life be far removed from spirituality? It cannot be. If God is part of every moment of your life, they can't be watertight. So, with Bapu, there are no big words, no erudite sermons. Everything comes in simple, small portions. Bapu says, begin where you are with what you have. Where am I? I am in a family. I am in a professional situation. I could be a student, a housewife, or a retired old person. What do I have? I may have education, I may not. I may have wealth, I may not. I have my two hands, I have my Sadguru, I have my Bhakti. The moment you feel, you become aware of God's love for you, of the Sadguru's love for you, the journey begins. The journey begins at that moment, the moment you become aware of the Sadguru's love for you. My mother came to Bapu at age 81. Satyendra Singh Rana, what did he have? He only had problems. The moment he felt Bapu's reassurance, his love, that was his source of strength. That was when he picked up the pieces. That was when the same set of pieces gave a different pattern, like the turn of a kaleidoscope. I would like to share my mother's story. My father had only just passed away when this happened, only a few months before this. And she was alone at home. I was out on some business, not out of town, but well out of city limits. And she usually checks on me every 3 or 4 hours. And it's good because she used to get these episodes of palpitation and her pulse used to race to more than 165. And she used to feel a lot of fear because without her husband, it was no roof on her head, that kind of situation. She used to feel very insecure and scared. So I was out and once she called me in the afternoon around 2 o'clock and she said, "Where are you?" So I told her, "I'm out of the city and it'll take me quite a while to come back." She said, "No, fine, I just called to check." I returned a good 5 hours after that and she was waiting for me. The moment I entered the house, she held me and tears were rolling down her eyes. She was crying profusely and she said, "Today was the first time I sat before Bapu's photograph." She had never done it before. That was the first time she sat before Bapu and she said, "I'm alone at home. I have nowhere to turn to. Bapu, I am scared. Please help. Please help me." Within a fraction of a second, the palpitation subsided. Within a fraction of a second, the fear vanished and till today, it has not come. This is April 2012. Till today, almost a year, she has not felt fear. She has not felt that racing kind of pulse. Bapu listened to that one call. That was the turning point in her life. She had fear. She had never done it. Bapu's photograph has been there for so many years. She had never done it. But Bapu accepts a call from the heart and the journey began. She began where she was. And today, the situation is the same. My father is not going to come back. But despite it, she has rediscovered joys in little things. Of course, she writes the Ramnam book and of course she does her Upasana. But there is there is the strength to live despite it and happily. So that's what it means when we say we have our hands, we have our Sadguru, and we have our Bhakti, and the journey can begin any time. Talking of Bhakti, we see a lot of sham, a lot of pretense outside, and Bapu wants us to know the real thing. So he says it's important to know what it is not before you understand what it is. So screeching out bhajans is not bhakti. Wearing saffron and smearing your body with ash is not bhakti. Reading fat texts just to appear knowledgeable is not bhakti. Standing before the idol in a temple with no love and no sentiment in your heart is not bhakti. Donating large sums of money to religious institutions to display your wealth is certainly not bhakti. What is bhakti then? Bhakti has primarily and essentially, Bapu says, has got to do with love. With love for the God. Bhakti is calling out to God, recalling His darshan, His name, His word, weaving in His instruction in your life. It is singing His praises. It is a state of constant connectedness. It is feeling His live presence in your life. It is loving surrender. It is placing Him before you. That is bhakti. And loving Him most of all. Also, bhakti cannot be separate from seva. Seva is selfless service, service done for the sake of service and not for name, fame, power or anything of the sort. Seva in bhakti, that's why the services, the seva projects in the organization, Bapu's organization, are called devotional services. Because they include the sentiment of bhakti, they include the love of the Sadguru. The seva is done out of love. And Bapu gives a very beautiful illustration in Satya Pravesh that he authored. He says, Bhakti is the vessel and the oars are seva. And together they'll ferry you across the worldly seas. Be they stormy. They'll ferry you across. So essentially, neither bhakti nor seva require you to turn away from family life. And how is that? Bapu doesn't stop at telling us what bhakti is, what seva is. He tells you how to do it. He tells you how simple it is to do it. And he makes opportunities available. 24 minutes out of 24 hours. Be with your God. Be with Him. Apart from the annik that you have to do every day, or reading a page of the Srimad Purushartha, or writing the Ram Nam book, which you can do sitting in a train or a plane, or when you're waiting your turn at the doctor's clinic, anywhere. You could chant a stotra that you're fond of on your walk. You could listen to good music. It needn't be a stotra. You could listen to good music that keeps you connected with the God. And to ensure this definition that Bapu has given of spirituality, that you remain connected with God at every moment, he gives us these little sweet norms in life. Say Shree Ram when you get a compliment. Your feet are grounded, you're humble, you're connected. Say Ambadnya when you want to express your gratitude. This is a little value that he has inculcated in us to keep this connection alive. We begin our meetings with the Vijay mantra, Ramo Rajamani. We end them with the Shanti mantra. God is there every moment, connected with the activity in your daily life. So bhakti does not require you to not pursue your profession, your studies, whatever. Seva Bapu makes opportunities for seva available, and so easily you have the charkha at home. Spin the charkha, the yarn will go into making a uniform for a deprived child. Make a quilt at home, that it will keep a granny warm in some village. Or knit a sweater, you can keep a baby warm. The beauty is there is no giver and there is no receiver. Both are faceless. You knit your sweater, you give it to the old is gold counter or Kolhapur medical camp. You don't know, and that person doesn't know you. That's the beauty. And selfless service or devotional service or seva happens, and so easily, sitting at home. Sit at home and record for the blind. Give the audio CDs are given to blind students. You can sit at home and do this. So, like I said, talking of selfless, Bapu does not accept anything from anybody. No Guru Dakshina. Not in any form. No flowers, no fruits, no sweets, no money of course, no greeting cards, nothing at all. Just nothing. He says, if at all you want to offer me something, offer me the jap, offer me the Ram Naam, do the charkha. It will go into making a uniform, it will clad a child. He is my child. As a parent, I'll be happy that my child is happy. Do it for me, do it for your brother, do it for your sister. I'll be happy. He goes a step beyond and says, offer me your sins. A Sadguru who says, offer me your sins, offer me your fears. Every time you come for Guru Purnima, I will relieve you of 50% of your sins. Offer me your sins, offer me your fears. This he does because he does not reject the sinner. He wants to cleanse us of sins. He does not reject the sinner. He accepts us as we are, despite what we are. He just loves us. What do we say? Ambadnya. The same applies to the Tirtha Kshetra, the sacred places that have been established under Bapu's guidance. We do not accept any fruits, any flowers. If you want to give a donation, you can. If you want to give a donation, you can get a receipt. Be it Atulit Baladham in Ratnagiri or Guru Kshetram here in Khar or Govidya Pitham. We do not accept anything from outside as far as the offerings are concerned, and there is a reason behind it. By offerings, I mean coconuts or blouse pieces or bangles that we offer to Chandika Mata. That is because if we start accepting things from outside, there will be a whole row of market little stalls outside Guru Kshetram. There will be trade. There will be people selling tulsi leaves, bay leaves, bangles, blouse pieces, this and that. We do not want to open a market outside sacred places. It interferes with the sanctity of the place. If you decide you want to come and have darshan, not spend a single rupee, it is possible. It is possible, it is okay. In fact, Bapu says, come, sit in Guru Kshetram as long as you want, with the reassurance that you're sitting in your mother's lap. You don't want to offer anything, fine. You don't want to buy anything, fine. Darshan is free, Udi is free and freely available. Just like Bapu's darshan is free, you can enter the discourse, you can enter the Ram Navami function, you can enter the Guru Purnima function or Aniruddha Purnima function. Entry fee, exit fee, nothing of the sort. Come, be blessed, sit as long as you want. But there is a reason behind not accepting these things from outside. Because purity is the one norm. Purity and cleanliness in all senses of the term is the one norm Bapu will stick to at all costs. In the sacred places, in the organization. And people who do not comply with this have been shown the door. They have been shown the door. So he is very stringent about purity. Bapu speaks to us every Thursday evening at Hariguru Gram at Bandra East. There are 2 discourses. The first one is in Marathi and the second one is in Hindi. The first one in Marathi is based on a name of the Vishnu Sahasranam. It could be a mantra or an attribute of the Vishnu Paramatma. And Bapu not only explains what the term means, what the mantra means, but how it works in my life as of today, in today's times, how I can make the best use of this function of the Paramatma to progress in life, how it works on my mind. And we've been doing Om Mantraya Namah for such a long time, and we've been doing Kurukshetra Mantra now. So he explains it in a way that it will lead to welfare, lead to well-being, and that's all that he wants. Actually, the discourse is not a sermon, it's a loving guidance. It's a loving guidance, very practical. There are people of all ages who come in. There are young boys, there are old people, there are people from all walks of life. Each one has something to learn and take home. The second pravachan, and it could also be about parenting and family values. It could also be a very sweet thing like a family that prays together, stays together, because he wants people to bond. He wants people to bond. It's not just about collective upasana if you do it together. It's also about a family spending time together, bound by the same purpose. It's about dissolution of your differences for that while. It's about surfacing of that bond. So he gives you these values. It could also be something very, very practical and interesting like the one-page diary. He once told us a story about how his parents made use of it and how it's a key to success. Imagine a daily diary that has only one page, a today page. Make a list of things that you need to do. Take an overview of your life and what you need to do tomorrow, and what is the prep job that you need to do to accomplish this task tomorrow. Tick the items as you go on doing them. If there is a carryover, write the carryover, chuck that page. That's done. It's a one-page diary. He has given us a simple solution to time management, to portioning of time, to prioritizing, and to sorting your life out. So this is a range of themes that are included in Bapu's discourses. The second one is in Hindi. The second one is based on the Sai Charitra, a work written by the great Bhakta Hemad Pant. Bapu discusses verses, and as we know and as Bapu has told us a number of times, it's not just the story of Sainath, not just the story of his life and times, it is the story of his bhaktas, who were family persons, ordinary persons like you and me, who loved their Sadguru, who got guidance from their Sadguru, wanted to progress on the spiritual path. What if we were in that situation in today's times? What do I need to do? Bapu tells us that when he explains the Sai Charitra in the second discourse. And the principle that the Sadguru is the same. Hemad Panta has written about his Sadguru, who was Sainath at that time, and the love, the trust that he felt for him. We get to hear from Sadguru Bapu. It is something else, is all I can say. Bapu, you can see it. He enjoys the love that Himarpant had for his Sadguru, and we get to enjoy that love that reflects from him to us. Talking of the Sai Charitra, he has instituted exams called the Panchashil exams. There are 5 levels. The last level needs you to do a practical, write a journal and do a viva. I suppose Bapu's scientific background, academic background has to do with this. So you have to write a journal, do a practical and do a viva. And the syllabus is obviously the Sai Charitra, but the syllabus is not a test of memory. It's a test that has to do with Bhakti, with your life, how much you have imbibed from the Sai Charitra. And why an exam? Because when you prepare for an exam, you study, you go deeper, you apply it, and you connect it with other things. So the syllabus is not within the 2 covers of Sai Charitra. People read it, people go deeper, and then it connects with Prem Pravas or Srimad Purushartha, any of the volumes. It connects with Matru Vatsalya, then it connects with what Bapu has said in the discourse and how it applies to our situation. That is what comes out. A very new design for every person. And people have been doing levels 1 to 5 many times. And every time it's a different experience. The practicals are based on scientific principles like you have in physics. And to quote Bapu's words, for instance, if it's the relation between the Sadguru and the Bhakta, or the role that the Sadguru plays in the Bhakta's life, Bapu explains it on the basis of the pulley mechanism. If I have to lift a load of 100 or 150 kg, I cannot. If I tie it to a rope, which is a pulley rope, and I pull it, I can. I feel I am pulling it. I am lifting the rope. I am not. The load is the same. The Sadguru plays this role in my life. I cannot lift the load of sins, of my fate. The Sadguru makes me feel that the load is lighter. Actually, he is acting as the pulley. The load is the same. The effect has been diluted. Or he says that the ray of light bends when it changes the medium. We've learnt in school. And the angle at which it bends depends on the medium that it's going to pass through. The ray of light is the same, but the angle at which it bends in 2 media is different. The Sadguru's light, the Sadguru's grace is bestowed equally on every being. The medium, the receiver, that's us. Depending on our nature, our tamogun, we receive grace. The volume, the goodness that it has on us. So Bapu uses these little practical experiments and these principles that we've learnt in school to explain large facts. Bapu, the Sadguru, the father, the teacher, the friend, says, I am a warrior. I enjoy teaching the art of warfare to all those who want to fight their destiny. He says, it's my hobby. The word hobby indicates how dear it is to him, how consistently he has been doing it. And he will keep doing it, how natural and how simple it is for him. The art of warfare. What are the weapons in this warfare? He has given us means of bhakti, he has given us the Kurukshetra mantra, he has given us means of seva. He says he lifts or relieves us of 50% of our sins. That changes our fate. He has given us the Arnik. He has given us the Vardhaman Vratadiraj. All of these act on our sins, our past karmas. Normally, we believe destiny to be inevitable, unchangeable. And Bapu says we'll fight it. How? There is this verse by Sant Eknath, एका जनार्दनी भोग प्रारब्धाचा परी हरी कृपे त्याचा नाश आहे. भोग प्रारब्धाचा परी हरी कृपे त्याचा नाश आहे. So your prarabdha, your fate can be destroyed with Hari Kripa, with the grace of Hari. And how does the grace of Hari come to us? Bapu says it comes making a vehicle of the Naam that you recite, of the name of the Bhagavanta. When you recite the name of the Bhagavanta, the grace of Hari makes a vehicle of that Naam and comes to you. Where does it come? It comes to the mind. And your mind is the expression of your fate in this birth. Your mind is the expression or manifestation of fate in this birth. It is the situation that you get in when you're born. Your karmas, your sin, your past decisions, whatever. And when the grace acts on the mind, when the mind changes, fate does. So not only bhakti and seva but also namasmaran done with love will get us the grace of Hari, and that will also change our fate. But then he also has a pledge. It's his pledge of honor that is part of the Annik that we say every day. Yuddha karta Shree Rama mama samartha datta guru mooladhara sachar vanar sainikoham ravana vadha nishchitaha. What is Ravan? Bapu says Ravan is ill fate. Ravana vadha nishchitaha. He will surely die. Ill fate will surely die. When you say and trust that Sri Ram is my warrior, he is leading the war, he has waged the war, I am going to be part of his army. Sachar Vanar Sainik, a Vanar soldier in word and deed. I am going to listen to the instruction of my Sadguru. I am going to do what he says. I am going to be a Sachar Vanar Sainik, a Vanar soldier in word and deed. Then Ravan, my ill fate, will be destroyed. Sri Ram will do it for me. That is his war against destiny. He also says, I consider it my duty to equip every person who loves me to courageously face whatever is inevitable, to change whatever possible out of the inevitable, and to make easy whatever seems difficult to change. He says it's his duty. He's not saying he's obliging us. He says he's a parent, he's doing his duty, he's giving it to us. How is he giving it to us? He's equipping us. How is he equipping us? If the inevitable cannot change, our response to the inevitable can change. The way we cope with it can change, and that will water down the intensity. He equips us on the spiritual level with these weapons, bhakti, seva, his pledge, doing the annik, that is the spiritual level. He equips us at the worldly physical level too. First of all, he makes us aware of the situation. Look at the international scene. What is going on? There's a war on. The concept of war has changed. War is not fought on the battlefields. War has come to our backyard. The kind of weapons that are used involve the common man in destruction. And the kind of weapons that are used now will cause a destruction 100 times more than the one that was caused by the Second World War. He's making us aware of that. He says the drumbeats are sounding. The witch that is the Third World War is knocking at the door. He gives us a perspective, and for our sakes, to make us aware of at least 2% of what awaits us, the horrible times that awaits us, he wrote this book, The Third World War, which he says is not a forecast. He's not foretelling. It's a proper study. He saw a similarity between the pattern between the circumstances that existed before the Second World War and the circumstances that exist now. And there will be war. In fact, the war is on. India has a big role to play, he says, in the coming times, post-coming times of destruction. India will be the rehabilitator. India will restore humanity to normalcy. And so, the Aniruddha's Academy of Disaster Management. Not only does this academy equip you to know more about, cope with man-made and natural disasters, the AADM Bapu says is the expression at the physical level of the Ghor Kashtodharan Stotra. This is a very, very unique seva. Ghor Kashta is pain, and in the coming times, disaster is going to be a major cause of pain, man-made or natural. And where will the Uddharan come from? The Uddharan will come from disaster management processes. What does he mean by that? He says prayer is a dialogue with the God. Prayer is asking for help, asking for grace. Prayer is sharing. When you pray, when you put your hands together and pray for somebody you do not even know, it becomes an even more sublime prayer. And the disaster management volunteers who lift stretchers and climb up ropes and tie knots, their hands are joined in prayer. The hands that lift the stretcher are joined in prayer for someone who's caught in the fire, for someone who bore the brunt of a bomb blast, for instance. So, the AADM activity is a special prayer activity, the physical expression of the Ghor Kashtodharan Stotra. So Bapu said, when he conducted the workshop, when the courses began, then he equips us with the Pratyaksha. Pratyaksha is Bapu's Pratyaksha word, actually from Bapu's mouth, the way he wants it. Pratyaksha brings Bapu's word to your home, to our home every morning. The fourth page of Pratyaksha gives you international news, but if you notice, it is different. The pattern is different from other newspapers. It is, I feel, a sequel to the Third World War, the book The Third World War, because the perspective is the same. The perspective is kept alive of awareness of the world converging towards a war, a world war. Apart from the daily job, apart from the daily prayer that Pratyaksha has, there are various features. And Bapu, the executive editor of this non-political daily, writes an editorial 3 times a week. That is called the Tulsi Patra and is based on the verses from the Sundarkand by Tulsidas ji. Today we are on the 908th Tulsi Patra. Since the 702nd editorial of the Tulsi Patra series, we are doing the 334th verse. More than 200 editorials on one verse of the Sundarkand. Who can do it? Only Bapu. Only Bapu. He authored the 3 volumes of the Srimad Purushartha, the Satya Pravesh, the Prem Pravas and the Ananda Sadhana. This again is a complete guidance to progress in life in its entirety. It is for our well-being, it is for our welfare, it includes clarification of concepts, or it clears misconceptions. Prem Pravas tells you what to eat, what not to eat. It goes to that extent. The first section, that is the Poorva Ranga, discusses the infiniteness or the boundlessness of the Paramatma. The second section, The Sri Ranga tells you how close he is to you, how his infiniteness does not stand in the way of his proximity with you, how to get closer to him, how much he loves you. So the second Prem Pravas goes from this to what you should eat, to the Madhufalavatika. Ananda Sadhana gives you the real meaning of things like the Vrat, what it means, why it was done, why it should be done, how it should really be done. So together they are for our well-being, and the Srimad Purushartha, Bapu says, is his yajna, and he will keep doing it. He says it's a hive with medicinal properties, a hive that has honey he has collected from the blossoms of various flowers and kept it open for us. Bapu says, I am neither a juggler nor a magician. I don't do any tricks. I don't do any miracles. We see several examples where people fish out udi, people fish out watches and chains from the air. What good is it to know that the person standing before you can fish out a chain from the air? What difference does it make to my life? It doesn't. Even if you call it a miracle, what difference does it make? It doesn't make any difference to my life. If nothing falls in your lap in the first place, you have to work for it, you have to put in sheer hard work for it. There are no shortcuts. Bapu works hard. Bapu worked hard before he wrote the Third World War. When he was studying homeopathy, his sessions used to be 6 hours a day plus 6 hours of study. And Leeladhar Siya was telling me 2 days back that he was studying even on the way. They were to attend a wedding in Banhatti. He was studying in the car. He had fat books open on his lap. He was asking Leeladhar Siya to refer to the dictionary. He was making notes. That's how he works. He works hard. Now he is addressing a homeopathy seminar. He works through the night. Last year he slept only 6 hours in a total of 3 or 4 days. He works hard. There is nothing that falls in your lap. A true bhakta also must work hard. Sri Ram did no miracles. He fought a war to destroy Ravan. Hanumanji did no miracle. He didn't sit at home and cause a miracle and burn down Lanka. He went to Lanka, actually entered it and burnt it down. So we must not expect and must not believe this concept of trick or jugglery or miracle. The miracle or the change that happens inside of us and it stays. If it happens with the grace of the Sadguru, then that's no trick. That's his grace. That's his love. And it is often this, let's say, this desire for shortcut or this greed that leads you astray. That leads you astray to the extent that it could prove dangerous. People go to tantrics or people go for black magic, and we had 2 whole articles on black magic in the special issue of Pratyaksha. The Shraddhavan need not fear. We need not fear. We have our Bapu, we have the Udi, we have Bapu's love, and it is impregnable protection. We need not fear, but we need to know what goes on the world over. It is rampant. We read in the special issue of Pratyaksha, it goes on in Brazil, it goes on in the United States, the supposedly scientifically advanced countries. Go for this. Go for this. And it is nothing but destruction boomeranged. It is nothing but that. We read, but the Shraddhavan really needn't fear. We read so many experiences on YouTube of bhaktas who've said that I was wearing this pendant with Bapu's photograph and the Trivikram, and the evil power didn't work, couldn't work. Bapu's photograph, the Udi, the pendant or the Manibhadra Kankan that we wear is protection enough for the Shraddhavan. Bapu is with us. Bapu is with us. But we need to be aware, and hence the issue was brought up in Pratyaksha. After all of this, Bapu says, I am not an avatar. I am not an avatar, not of anybody. I am Aniruddha, I was Aniruddha, and Aniruddha I shall always be. What is Aniruddha? Aniruddha is the one who cannot be stopped, is the one who cannot have any obstructions on his paths. And so Aniruddha is boundless. Aniruddha is infinite, Aniruddha is pure, because there are no impurities, there are no obstructions on his path. So Aniruddha's word, Aniruddha's love, Aniruddha's mission are all Aniruddha, like the name suggests. And he says, whether anyone follows me or not, I will indeed do what I want to, and that is my resolve. I will naturally be very glad if my dear friends follow me. But again, even if the entire earth were to stand up against me, I would move on sticking to my values. That is for sure, 108%. That is the unstoppable talking. That is the Aniruddha talking. These are words that only Aniruddha can utter. He is self-sufficient. He is not dependent on anybody, and so he accepts the free will. He says, I neither insist nor request that you follow my path. I'll be glad if you come along, but I neither insist nor request, because he does not depend on anything or anybody. He will accomplish his mission, his word. He will realize his dream, his vision, come what may, because he is Aniruddha. And what is his mission? Bapu is on a mission. What is his mission? His mission, he reveals in Srimad Purushartha, is, I will fill the world with happiness and abound with joy, all that be. That's his mission. His mission is us. His mission is our well-being. His mission is our welfare. He just wants joy for us. And so, he writes the Srimad Purushartha, he sets up seva projects, he does his tapashcharya for us. It was out of love for us that he did the tapashcharya. And the other aspect of the mission is Ram Rajya. He has promised us Ram Rajya in 2025. We are in 2013, 12 years to go. We will be in the Ram Rajya. It will happen because it is Aniruddha's word. What does Ram Rajya mean? Ram Rajya means the kingdom of Ram, yes, but a state or circumstances that Shree Ram gave to the subjects of Ayodhya. The subjects were fearless, the subjects were brave, the subjects were happy. So it is the state that the subjects of Ayodhya enjoyed when Shree Ram ruled Ayodhya. And project or mission Ram Rajya therefore involves making out of us or molding us on the lines of these subjects. And what all does that entail? Individual level, collective level, social level. Individual level, like Bapu always does, these little things that we need to do, and they go a long way. Eat curry leaves, or drink warm water in the morning, or eat the Shatakshi Prasadam, or walk for an hour. Bapu does all of this when he tells us that. He walks for an hour. So this is individual level. At the collective level, there is the Prapatti. At the social level, if you call it, there are these projects like Exponential Group of Journals, where a group of professionals get together and make available all the information. It's on the net, I think. So that is the Ram Rajya, which we will have and will happen in 2025. Then he says, what do I have? I have nothing but love. I have just love and nothing but love. A person coming to Bapu for the first time feels it. Person coming second time feels it. The person coming for the nth time has come back for it. That's all that you see. Pure love, complete acceptance. He seems as happy to see us as we are to see him. Whenever you look at him, he is very happy to see us, isn't he? It's complete reassurance. He keeps telling us with that one look and that one smile, I'm with you. I am with you. I'm there for you. Here I would like to talk about the German Shraddhavans who come to us. They don't understand Marathi, they don't understand Hindi, English broken. One of them speaks only 2 words of English, yes and nice. I tell you, she has a yes and she has a nice. They are all so immersed in Bapu's love. What is the language that they follow? They sit through the discourses. They only connect with love. They only connect with love. And I want to read out a few sentences from one of the German girls' experience that she has uploaded. The name is Petra Rohr. She says, when I came here for the first time, I knew nothing about Bapu. I came because Bapu had drawn me like a magnet. The first time Bapu looked at me, I knew this was him, the God I had been praying to. In our culture, we pray to the formless. But the kind of love that I felt instantly was a sure indication that my formless God stood before me in human form. He is forgiving and ever there to help me. He is my friend and my parent who wants nothing but the best for me. Tears dry and wounds heal only because Bapu loves me. I love you, Bapu. I love you more than my life. My life I offer at your feet. Bapu, accept. This is what she says in her narration. What kind of communication is this? This is beyond words, this is beyond language, this is beyond physical boundaries of countries. They are so sure of Bapu's love, they are so sure of it, they enjoy it, and they are so reassured. There is this other German girl, the German sisters as they are called Uta, who had a tumor in her brain the size of a tennis ball. The size of a tennis ball, and she was operated. The operation went on for 10 hours. And she came out of the operation. She wasn't even a follower of Bapu. Her twin sister was, not until then. And she came out of the operation. She had lost her capacity to understand words, to understand language. She couldn't follow. Words were just noise for her. She just couldn't follow. She had to be taught to stand, to walk, to dress herself, to eat. She just couldn't do anything. She was like a newborn baby. There was a second operation because she had a stroke after the first. And then there was a third operation. The last 2 operations that she had, she saw Bapu holding her like a baby and cradling her. Both the times. When she went into anesthesia, she saw Bapu holding her like a baby and cradling her. So the first words that she uttered when she was taught to speak were Bapu and light. These were the 2 words that she spoke. She now relates to him as a parent. If you go and see on the blog is called Journey to Aniruddha. She's reading out from a piece of paper. A girl who couldn't even stand, walk, dress and eat is now reading out from a piece of paper, and she works. She even has a job now. She says, Bapu is my parent. Where does this connection come from? It's only heart to heart. It's just heart to heart. And talking of parent, Bapu is a mother, yes, who wants the best for his child, but he is not here to give us what we want. He is here to give us what is right for us. And I am going to narrate a very interesting experience by Smriti Veera Modi, Mumbai. I read it in Kripa Sindhu. Her brother was looking for a job. Smriti Veera's brother was looking for a job for a very long time. He was just not getting a job. He was good in his field, but he didn't have experience, so no job, and that gets into a vicious circle. You don't have a job, so no experience, so no job. They didn't have any references, no one to put in a word, and it went on and on. Until one day she stood before Bapu at home, before the photograph, and said, Bapu, we don't have any references. Bapu, my brother is good in his field. Please put in a word for us. Please do it. Please let my brother have a job. After a few days, they did the Datta Yag, and in the premises of the discourse at Hari Gurugram, her friend happened to mention it to an acquaintance. The acquaintance gave a reference of a very reputed firm. He gave in his CV, gave the interview, he got the job. It was a good job. He got the job. And they were all very happy, grateful to Bapu. Time passed by, a year or two, and then he got a call from an American company. His colleagues took the call. All of them got an appointment letter. He also got an appointment letter. They all got a visa. He couldn't get it. Every time something would stand in the way and he would be refused visa. He had an appointment letter, but he wouldn't get the visa. So Smriti Veera stood before Bapu again. She said, Bapu, please, you helped us last time, so do it again. My brother wants to go to the United States. That job means better prospects. That job means better money. That job means a good career. So please help. No, he just wouldn't get it. He tried everything. He didn't get a visa. So they gave up. And after a while, in 2009, when recession hit the United States, the entire team came back. The entire team was packed off. They all came back. And quite a bit of time had lapsed, and so they had lost their earlier jobs. So they were jobless. This fellow in the team who had an appointment letter from the American company had retained his job because he didn't have a visa and he didn't go. Look at the love of the mother. He didn't grant it. What does it mean to grant a prayer? Not what you want, what is right for you. It means pure, sheer love. It means having to listen. It means having to listen to Smriti Veera saying, why are you not doing it? You did it last time. What's wrong? Let him have better prospects. He listened to it, but he didn't give it because he loves us. The beauty of it is this person was sent to the United States on a better position with better prospects by the same company after a while. He got to go to the United States, but not when he would have lost the job. That is Bapu's love. I feel love is an intrinsic part of Bapu, or love is synonymous with Bapu. Even before 1996, when he came out and declared his mission, he was what he is today. He just loved people. He told his patients, don't pay me, but don't discontinue your treatment. It didn't make a difference where the patient came from. He would jump over open gutters and go and see patients. He didn't say, this place is dirty, I am a specialist, I'm not going to go and see him. No, he just loved and cared. That one among us thing was there before 1996. One among us thing is there even now. One among us, because he didn't want to make that discrimination. There were people who would have related to him personally as neighbors or friends or colleagues before 1996. They felt that he is different. They felt that there's something out of the ordinary with him, and now the pieces fall in place. Definitely. But this is what it was. If he learnt homeopathy as part of his tapasya, it was out of love for us. He says that. He says homeopathy can attain a state of harmony which he says his Ananda Vritti, as Dr. Kamlesh Suryavamshi writes in his article, and homeopathy can give it to you, can give it to people. So let's work on that. That's what I want to learn. His reassurances, or even if you think at the human level, he talks about the Ved, the Upanishad. He takes a seminar of 12 hours on finance management. He inspires an issue on changes of the millennium. He does a seminar on API, wasn't it? API and Web 2. He does a seminar on cloud computing. He has studied homeopathy. He's good at it. He's addressing a seminar for the last 3 days. He did it last year. He attended the seminar. He has studied Ayurveda. He knows the martial arts. He knows the Malkham. What does he not know? Think of it at the human level. Which one human being can do it? He is what ought to be. Just that. And so he says, my friends, purity and love are the two coins that can buy me. No other, just no other currency can ever buy me. Actually speaking, the I, as in me, Aniruddha, is yours, only yours. It was never mine and will never be. So, the biggest truth in our life is that Bapu loves us. The biggest joy in our life is that Bapu loves us. And since truth, love and joy, as Bapu says, dwell together always, the truth, the love and the joy is that Bapu is a live presence in our life. And just like in Prem Pravas, there is no distinction, there is no paradox, that the Paramatma is infinite and he is so close to me. He is my friend. His boundlessness does not stand in the way of my feeling love for him or him feeling close to me. So it is with Bapu. His quality of being Aniruddha or being boundless does not stand in the way of my feeling close to him. No one can be a closer friend than he can. So all I can say is, Shree Aniruddha has come. Sing the glory, enjoy it, proclaim it, love it, and say Ambadnya. Hari Om.